Decided to work on Black Shadow again as a total conversion of Duke Nukem 3D using the eDuke 32 engine, but still using the classic render and no acceleration features whatsoever. Mostly because the voxel support of the software render is far superior than the emulated OpenGL versions, because in those versions they have to convert the models into polygons, and the more complex those voxel models are, the more complex those polygons are. That and all the color information of the voxel model needs to be translated into a kind of complex color map or texture map. I'm not quite sure how the engine handles it. Either way, it's much slower and not that great. So I'm sticking with all the classic stuff, with a few extra features by eDuke 32's script extensions, and some code provided by Deeper Thought, one of the forum users of eDuke 32, which I forget which one it's under now. So I'm playing the original couple levels that I released with a demo about 7 years ago. The original project was started 10 years ago as a 2D side-scroller, castlevania-like game. And then I said, let's make a 3D one. Because I kind of was learning a bit more about the Duke 3D engine and the features it had, and didn't actually use, like most of the voxel engine and its ability to handle large amounts of sprites and other crazy stuff. As you can see, the enemies, the pottery, the guts and everything are all 3D pixels. They're not polygons. As you see, go through them. They're just flat blocks representing the 3D shape. Oh, where'd you come from? Now, the bowmen weren't fully coded, so they kind of have a weird death. Their hitbox doesn't turn off when they start dying, whereas this guy, he's in his death state. You can just walk through him. But the bowman was like one of the last images I added before I stopped working on this project. So I had stopped originally because I was coming up with more ideas that could fit in the actual engine, as there is limits to how much, I'm gonna die, how many models I could actually load, and also the complexity it takes into account too. For instance, the average soldier is a decent complex model. I think it's maybe 48 voxels high by usually 32. Same with the bowman, where a boss character is slightly larger. Or maybe I'm wrong about the height. It's been a while since I looked at the models. I know the formless models is little sluggy creatures that spit at you. There may be probably 32. And then the 64 all around because they're fairly wide. And then also a nice feature of the voxel models is creating these little platforms that stick out like they were broken off. Whoops, I fell. And then all these pillars. One thing I have modified since the original demo is I modified some of the con code and some of the sprite hitboxes, as these little guys were harder to hit than they should have been. Their sprite box was actually really small when I looked at it. And this little tricky part, you have to jump up on the broken piece of pillar. Oops. I have to fall back down again. Now some of this run is mostly for me to fill where I could do better as far as map design, and obviously I made it a little bit too tight, a little too complex in some of the jumpy areas, which gets worse in the next map, but we're not there yet, so. Also didn't have an auto equip on sword, and the shield sprite is really, really small. So I've enabled the shield again by using the voxel version, although I'm thinking of going back to the sprite version. Because if I do the voxel version of this, I might want to have to do the voxel version of the sword. The sword is only a sprite, where this is actually a model in the world itself. As you can see, it clips, although it attempts to get closer to you as you get closer to a wall. It pretty much blocks the attacks, at least the forward ones. Oop, oop. Where are you? Oh. I did make a lot of these areas a little too dark. A little convoluted as far as what you're supposed to do. As you'll encounter a bunch of these block doors. I put a randomizer on the shield sound so there's different block sounds. I always tend to do that with the swing and some other things that give it more variety. Ooh. And then also change that damage color from green to something else. I don't remember if I bothered to change it. Oh, I got squeezed in there somehow. So yeah, if you just wander around... Oh, there's a bow guy. Little dummy got me. On their own, they're not that bad, especially when you have the sword. But as you see, the sword will have a point where it's going to run out and not be usable. Even if you just swing at nothing. It's kind of forcing you to conserve it. Especially when you come across the first boss, you're going to need a lot of points in it. Which you can't get to until you figure out the switch puzzle. Then you got to figure out where those switches are. It's another thing I probably should do less confusing switch puzzles. This was the first go on the map. But it allowed me to establish a lot of look. These are nice little features of the engine was rooms over rooms. Although the eDuke 32 has more advanced rooms over rooms, a lot of it I tried to keep closer to the engine's rendering. Because it was still able to handle translucencies, and it was just 256 colors. But it is a lot to do with how well the palette is designed too. There's a slightly modified version of the eDuke 32 palette, or the what am I saying? The Duke 3D palette. Mostly in the greens, because their greens were they're kind of strange greens. These little switches pop out. I got a lot of original sounds. Some of them are just free sounds, although some of them are made up, like the monster sounds. Can't remember if the stabby sound is. Oh boy. Does healing. Also should make the items a little bit more descriptive, as you find shade gems to heal, but you find what I call them. Let's see if we can find one. These pots will drop random things. Oh joy, gold. More gold. I didn't ever add a shop system here, but in another project working with eDuke 32, I did manage to make a inventory system. Or not inventory, but a shop system. You can purchase items. Let's see. Gold. Gold. Oh, I'm forgetting that there's a room full of the objects over there. These guys. Shade orbs. A little confusing. Shade orbs, shade gems. Now I might call these just shadow orbs or something else. Something related to the sword, as that's what they bring up points for. Let's see. Now this door is open. So there's two. You have to go underwater to find the switch, which open at least a nearby door, and then that one opens this one. You go down through here. Now this door doesn't open until after you beat the boss. I believe I coded them as red to kind of give you an idea. Those red doors open all at once. But still, it's not very clear. Something you have to kind of discover. And that's the atomic health. Gives you a nice bonus of 50. Of course, if you have life below your max, it's not very good of a bonus. I don't know if you could change that so it gives you max and then gives you the bonus, which would be really nice. Make it a little bit more valuable to find. And that would be the final switch. Yep. Very dark areas. This little area out here. A little secret to find. Or to get ambushed by them. Because they're all projectile enemies. Now, a lot of the graphics for the textures and some of these objects are based from the 2D platformer, where I made multiple layers, like this little fire thing, for what they're called. But yeah, it was just essentially just this picture of it, and I just broke it out and then trimmed it out into different layers and made a program that compiled it to the voxels. It's a pretty simple file setup, or at least the raw voxel model is. All it just needs is a color palette at the end, I believe, or something. It's been a long time since I've worked on it all. And one of the things is I was pretty OCD about model designs and everything. As far as like refining the proper height, or at least the optimum voxel resolution to keep detail. Well, some things based on sprites, like these little guys, were just like layered. The enemies are based off of models made in Sculptress, and then colored in Sculptress kind of crudely. Then, oh shoot, I forgot. You get trapped in here. There's a bowman, and you get, there he is. At a certain point, you'll trigger this little mini boss called the Guardian. But I've given way too much health to. As you get trapped in here. Let's see, 87. Oh, probably would help not to use it. Looking for ammo. So if he doesn't see you, you're fine. Just long enough to get, oh, nothing but health. Well, it's good to know there's health around. Alright. So you can pretty much block his attacks. But once your sword is out, you can't use the shield much either. And event, oh no, he can hit you. Never mind. He hit you at an angle. He still has Octobrain's sound effects, unfortunately. Ah, jeez. He's a tough one. Alright. So I might make different versions of him, because these old games are all about palette swapping to make different versions. In the new version I'm working on, we'll have green versions of the soldiers who will be much weaker. The damage they do will be the same. Oh, I'm doing too well here. And they got plenty of sword, but not enough life. Oh, he's sneaky. Oh, alright. He still does get some damage into you, even with your shield. Yeah, he could definitely stand out his own sound effects, that's for sure. Whoa, 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 whoa! Head first. Alright. We're gonna hide. Yeah, I know. Hiding from the boss. You don't got much to hide for. What is this? Why can't I get it? Well, that's great. Well, let's see. I can't get that from the mini-boss. Oh dear. He is really on me. Not the best hiding place. I don't even think I designed it so you can cheese him. Let's see. The shield. I can't push him out. Nope. Oh, I didn't even jump up there, did I? Let's see. The shield. Up. I can't see crap. There's another reason just the sprite shield could be obscured a little less than this one. There you go. Get out of the way! Ah, he got me good. No. I could cheat and use God mode. Whoa. I don't remember what that is. So the original Duke Cook cheats are still involved. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Aha. Oh shoot, he got me. Well, so much for that run. So yeah, I made him a little too tough. Since the demo version, these guys have been altered. A little bit easier to kill and hit them. Now let's see. Another problem I found is that certain things don't retain, like the health. The experience and the gold stay, which is fine, but you're supposed to at least retain the bonus health you get from each level. You get about 10 every level. As you see, when it flashed blue before, you get full life plus the 10. Gold, useless gold. Well, we could go try and do that again, or we could just do the one sheet I do remember, which is flip code, and just show you what is beyond him. But first, should at least have some life back. Now, all these things were destroyable, like barrels, foam man, and here's the sword. I flipped the sword, used to stand upward to lengthwise, because now it's a drop item by the enemy. Originally it wasn't. Oh yeah, 16 points. Punch. Yeah, so you can bust that. That goes nowhere. This goes nowhere. If you don't kill that hiding little bowman guy, he's gonna be the one shooting out of there. You can break those. The banner task pursuits are pretty easy because they're only about oh, that's the wrong one. Dean Clip. That's the one. Alright. Now this doesn't open up until after you open the boss. This is just basically a little shortcut area. There's also a dash function. So you can dash in and out of your fights. Ooh. And I believe you come out through here after you beat him. There's a little cavern, little area you go through. We're not going that way. We're going. I believe this way is the right way to go. Right? Ooh. I shouldn't have made so many blind drops. Come out through here. It's been a while since I've gotten around to this place again. Can't remember where it leads. Ouch. This leads, yes, this would lead back to the main area. Oh dear. Now the shield. You can't cheat to get that shield. Ooh. Oh boy, he's getting good. I gotta take him out. Oh shoot. Oh now I have the shield. That's the other problem with the voxel model. I think it appears when it shouldn't. So yeah, this would be the temple proper. Further into it, you find what would be like a later boss, but wouldn't unlock until later on as well. There's a huge area of that temple, and I'm not going to go through it that way. We're going to just move on to the next one. Now the first part of this area is kind of what I look at for flaws and how dark and tight it is. The other part of the temple, like, I kind of like how it turned out, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then when it came to the second area, after you get out of there, that's what I started running into some creative difficulties. No, initially it looks fun. And I made a nice town attached to it as well. In the beginning of the next area, which is a castle. Ooh. A shield would have helped out. I'll probably make the shield more available and also destructible. Ooh. Yeah. Seemed like more than it was. Alright, so we got the cheats on. That's right, there's no inventory enabled yet. That was something I still haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do as far as collectible, usable items. I believe I have the breathing disabled for underwater, or at least set so high it doesn't matter. Because the idea is that you're a shade being. You wouldn't really need to breathe in the water. Oh, my CD. Oh, shoot. Yeah, there were cannons shooting at you, you'd have to jump across that. And I conveniently made them all dark and matching everything else. Whoop. There's the dash. Dash back and forth. Whoa, there's a level. Oh, the level will reset. I did have that set right, though. It does reset if you start a new game. Before, I think it would retain the experience and the gold when you started a new game. That's not right. At least from a game design perspective, that's not the right thing to do. Let's see. Well, a lot of that gets touched up as I rework with the con code again, clean it up, remove the old stuff. Like the graphics and the art files are, some of them still have the old Duke Nukem stuff until I replace it. And a lot of that didn't get replaced because back then, some of the tools I was using, you know what? Wait, do you follow with clip-on? I think you do. Let's turn that off. That's right, there's no jetpack. Wait, there is, but there shouldn't be. There. Well, we could keep the jetpack function for something else. If I do, I have to keep that into consideration in map design, though. Jetpack really messes with things when you think about it, if you give flying to your character. So yeah, this area over here just starts getting a little odd. It's supposed to be mountainous area over here, which is a texture I ended up not really caring for at all. It just kind of goes on like this. Didn't really have any idea what I was going to do with this area. It just ended up me making a huge giant map and just trying to fill it. And this is what happened. All this stuff here. What was I going to do with it? I have no clue. I even made a river you can see under. Or at least, what was it? The sky? Well, it looks like the texture has been in the wrong spot. You can see there's a ghosting. Yeah, the texture is in the wrong spot, so it's not going to show up. Was this water? This water was just solid. Nothing in here? No, just a waterfall. Yeah, you can see the ghosting was because there's no texture down there. There's supposed to be a flip version of the sky texture. Whoa. Yeah, so you come over here, there's really not much over here except for scattered enemies all over. It's kind of a forest. There's there's this cave, which if I go down here, like the waterfall, it's turned out nice. But if you go down there, I think that's kind of a dead end. Or not a dead end, but a one-way. If you go this way, though, it's kind of a giant river. And the center was supposed to be like some kind of volcano mountain thingy. Oh, I think you can kind of reach it from going this way. Let's see how much of it you can see. Yeah, there's over there is where the town is. There's a huge, massive cracks through the earth. So it leads to the center thing in the middle. So I don't think I made it viewable. Let's see. How far? How far can we go? Whoa. Oop. I made this, I believe, purposely traversable. Because you could kind of peek. I don't think there's anything in there, though. Actually, I turned that on. What am I doing? Yeah, there was a tower right here. Yeah, this would be something you get to later on. And then, these giant gemstones. The gemstones, too, were kind of voxely, but they weren't that dense. So they're just kind of floating there, but I think you'd see them from a distance. Let's see, maybe from here. Or something. Maybe a bridge. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, there's this tower that you can't ever see. Deep within this gorge, which is a death pit. Which you could never trigger. Oh, see, there we go. Just as I say it. It's a death pit. It will kill you. Experience stays, gold stays, HP reset. Yep. And I think these guys might need adjustments in their area as well, because I think they aggro way too much. Well, I think I got these guys set a little bit more reasonably. A little bit more tame, but not. Oh, see, you notice. But I think they can hear you too. Yeah, so let's not go that way. Let's try and do this a legitimate way that I had made it so people would play would do. Which is very hard. You just keep going here and kill what I can. Not even set them up to be such a threat either. They just kind of ended up being that way. There's trees in the way. Look at all of the needles. Whoops. Okay, let's go across. It's all the needle. Oh dear. Wow. Yep. That'd get old pretty quick, wouldn't it? So that'd be something I definitely want to do is put death pits like that. At least to make it really easily traversable. It doesn't have to be Dark Souls. It's more inspired by Castlevania. And Hexen, which was an old favorite. That's what I liked about Hexen was just like the first person, medieval, simplified, in your face, beat 'em up, slash 'em up game. Which, there wasn't too many FPSs like that. I mean, I believe there was Shadowcaster. I played it a little bit, I didn't really care for it. But the concept was interesting. There's a little bit more evolved engine of the Wolfenstein, where it had actually had flying and swimming and all that. At least in whoa. Yeah, that was great of me. Why don't I just put the next platform out of view? Okay. I'm fine. See those bastards up there shooting cannonballs? Whoa. Now, I shouldn't get too cocky either, because I know if I stand around, they're gonna get me. We sneak around through here? Yeah, we can. Safe way. Ah, look at that. Yeah, this whole row is pretty much a death trap. And I believe that's the only way to get to this side. But you have to jump through those little thingies. But once you do, you get to this nice little peaceful town. Which all of the models for the NPCs were made and voxelized and all that. I never put them in. Mostly because I didn't animate them yet. There's only 2, male and female. Now the other varieties I think would also be more related to profession, like merchant and such. All these rooms are connected with a teleporter, which I forget who provided that script. Although it might have been Deeper Thought. I know the hub code, I believe, was his. I think it's in the comments of my con codes. Now, I had an original music score made a long time ago for the 2D version by a MIDI artist. I can't remember his real name. All I have to go by is his initials, which is JB. And yeah, that's it. That's all I could credit him for is JB. And that is if I continue to use the music. Now, most of these houses had interiors, and some had finished interiors. Let's see. If this one had a finished interior, you had chairs and tables. These were made from layered sprites, layers of images. Same with the bookcase. Too close to the wall, get a little clipping error. And this thing was a model that was rendered into a voxel. I'd use, I think I just made this quickly in Animator, which is a free modeling program. Exported it as a 3DS model, used Ken Silverman's Poly to Vox to put into the voxel model, and then I think I just colored in Slab 6, which is also Ken's voxel modeler. And a lot of the stuff was refined in the modeler, as the enemies were. Their shading was created through it. I just basically put the camera above it, put on lighting, and that's what there are lighting textures from. A combination of them being low resolution and all that blending together gives the overall look. These were kind of complex and hard to make though, especially these big guys. Those were fun. I don't even want to think of how many layers it was. But yeah, it was just layers and layers and layers. And I shaved off those layers. Could have been a little better, and I could modify them a little bit more. But for now, they're decent. Usually, I think the bigger trees might need a little touch up, but the smaller trees I think came out fine. I was also thinking about making them dark-sided like I do with the pillars. The pillars have one light side, one dark side. And mostly because then I could just angle them to help create the illusion of light. In the level design method I'm doing, I can't remember if I'm doing it with this one, but it was in my last project, the sci-fi one I've been working on. But I put that on hold. I don't think I'll be working on that for a bit. But I was using directional light as far as the sun coming from one direction, and that's where you get one shade. As you can see, I don't think I really used that. I think I did, yeah. See, there's a shadow right there. So yeah, the sun comes from one direction. So you got one illuminated side and one darkened side. Even the roof, just the roof edging is the voxel model. You can see it clips right there. Now, I believe if you do use the OpenGL, you get less clipping, but like I said, look at all these models. These will all be converted to polygons. These grass, every freaking blade of grass would be a polygon mesh of at least, was it a cube? Let's use triangles, that's 2 per side. Jeez. These little flowers. Yeah, the more complex, the less reasonable it is to actually convert them into a model. I mean, I could do it real quick. This is the perfect place to kill the system. Let's see. OpenGL. Oh, it won't even let me do it, will it? Did I disable that, or is it just... No, I don't even think I would want to do that. But I've done tests before, and it's totally to mess things. What I can do is make a lower resolution. Ooh, look at that. Double pixels. Even faster. I don't know. If you like it really low res, this could be the view for you. That's some low res there. The nice thing, it does get rid of, I think it's called the moire patterning. I think. Yeah, I think it does. Trade one for the other. See if I turn it back on. Oh, you can see pretty clear. Yeah, it really does blur things out. Because right now it's in 720. It's going about 80. This is just here to be here. Yep, this is just here to be here. Little drips. I think I just started making environments just for fun. But yeah, ultimately I had planned way too much stuff. Way too much levels. And then the levels themselves started getting too complicated. So now I'm scaling all that back, starting over with levels. But just reviewing these older ones to kind of get a feel of what I did like. Now, you can get into the keep if it was the original version. All the hubs would be connected. But since I started it up again, none of them are connected, so I can't do the hub map stuff. So you go in through here. You get this nice little pathway. It's all nice and peaceful. There's those cannons. That arrangement of cannons is just enough to screw you over trying to get over that. I think I made them bigger too. I think a little too small. They're a little sad for cannons being the size they used to be. And there's the pillars. These ones don't have one-sided shading. I think the bigger ones did. The blue ones. Also, the nice thing about the blue ones is they're all recolorable. So you'd go in here to that darkness. It'd teleport you to the next thing. If I did that now, it would just reset it to the title. So we're just going to do it the old little quick way. And there we are. Look, oh, we made it. There's the dark area. When you go in there again, it's going to take, well, it's going to take me the title, but it would take me to the other thing if it was set up. So yeah, this is largely unfinished. You got some nice views. Some more cannons. I'm not sure where those cannons are. I think there's a thing to traverse. Collapse little area. You could fall. Whoa. But not too doom. I don't think, at least. You go back up. I might have made this area to kind of lead you to a secret. The water. Huh. Because if you fell in the water, you would have been fine. You wouldn't have lost any life. But... oh, I keep falling. These little platforms are voxel models, which is fun to play with. As you can create these floors you really couldn't create without doing complex sexter work. I mean, it's all, you all take it for granted. When you work in a polygon engine, you could just slap in a box and then bam. But then again, if you wanted to have that pop up, then you have to make individual boxes for each of these little planks. As you can see, the sides still need a little touching up, but each little plank is raised. You can see down each little line. There's just like each little nick in there. It kind of curves in a bit. And you do get little issues like this, like you know, that sprite's going to be like that. I mean, there could be some ways to do it. Reposition it, maybe modify the sprite so it kind of hovers in there a bit. But, I'm not going to get that detailed in it. Now, these barrels I've made bigger. As you can see, originally they were smaller, because then, well, it wouldn't be as touchy like that. So red guy's an exploding one. Now, this is the Duke 3D's original cannonballs, which eventually I'd replace. Or are they? You know, I can't tell. Maybe they're the ones I made. And this is just a temporary model? It's so simple looking. Oh well. But yeah, I had cannonballs somewhere. I do have a 3D model of it. It's not really laying around because it's, well, it's just coming out of the cannon. And I think this area had something to it. Alright, here we go. Yeah, there was no enemy set about. Yeah, that was a temporary. I think that's the Duke 3D's cannonballs. I just put them there until I had an actual model. As you can see, there's the cannons, which is also from the side-scroller game's sprite, which I converted into 3D models. So the barrels and the pots and these pillars, and all the textures, and even the banners, just took them out of my side-scroller version. So you can go around here. There's a lot of unfinished. This is a largely unfinished area. Where that would have led. Got a duck. I'm not quite sure where I was going with this either. That would have led somewhere, I guess. Getting into this area. I guess you'd be kind of forced to traverse through here for some reason or the other. Which would mean you'd have to play dodge the cannon. Hey, the cannonballs had another effect for if they landed on water. It would splash instead of explode. Those little guys are voxels too. Just a few pixels. Oh, there's my guts. Yeah, voxels are very fun to work with. I mean, they had limits. Are they voxels? I can't remember. Sometimes I'd use them, and if they're that small, maybe I did switch them back. It also could be the angle. But then, like I said, it spots down there, just like a square. So sometimes it's hard to tell when they're very small. Well, they do have a lot of uses. You could rotate them, at least on the middle axis, any direction. But you can't rotate them, you know, up and down like you would, like someone flipping. Not so much you could do with that. But that's the technical limits. Then with what you can work with, that's what I'm more interested in. But yeah. So there's some design aspects. Whoa. What did I do there? Oh man. What is down there? The cannon shooting ball down that way? Oh, the ball's arc too, so that's probably why that would be arcing. You'd probably meet a merchant here, that'd be interesting. But yeah, none of these maps will be used again, but I'll probably use them as a reference for designs of what areas would look like. Like, I kind of like how this turned out, like some of the way these are structured. As this boss is, or this area's boss is colored primarily green. It's noted by the stripes and the banners. And then the boss after that, which is back in the first area, is represented with red. Then you're usually represented by blue. And there you go, down the hole. Now, I only actually had 3 maps really going. The 4th map was the beginning of a forest, which in the side-scroller game, that's pretty much as far as I had gotten myself, was the 4 initial levels, and I think a sewer level I had started to do. In the side-scroller I had the caverns, loosely represented with the temple, a fight with a red queen, then later on go through the town, and then meet the town, and then the castle, and then the forest, and then later on towards the final boss after a few other maps. But we're going to probably cut it down just to maybe 5 or 6 zones, so I'm going to just call them zones instead of all this complex name. And then let's see, move around the order of the bosses. So I'll probably make the Red Queen boss more close to a final boss. There's the Green Duke, he'd be probably the first actual boss. And then Guardians would be mid-bosses, and the Duke himself had 2 hounds, which will probably either be a dual boss or a boss with him, but that might be a bit crazy. Or I could have lesser versions of the hounds as well, just to give you a taste of how they fight. And a lot of this that is left to do is mostly mapping and refining a lot of the code. Here's something that didn't go, I think. Yeah, this was something I started doing. I was like, oh, let's see what it looks like bigger. I'm like, no, this is too big. This is where I was feeling when I was playing Doom again. It's like the one thing I didn't care about Doom is just way too big, too roomy. So I decided to kind of find something in the middle with that, and then that's where you get zone. I had called it tower. That's when I was just doing a test of it, and then I actually did the same mistake that I did with the second level. Was I just started adding way too much, and it's just the first zone. It doesn't need too much really. It just needs it needs enough, and it also needs links to other places. So in the new area, I have you starting out in this bit, which will actually shoot you out down this hole, which gives you more of a intro to your fall. Because in the first one, you're supposed to be being cast down a hole into a pool or into a pit, down into these caverns, and you have to find your way out. This is the start of the new maps. As you see, he hasn't really noticed me yet. Probably because he's facing the other direction. They're not as aggressive yet. Let's see. You have an area that way. As you can see, it's illuminated because I haven't quite finished building that way. But then I decided to just start shading and dropping these sprites in. All these little sprite rocks. Ooh, there's a guy. And then as you go, passageways to go become a little bit more obvious. See, like this, we go down there, and what the heck's down that way, and so forth. Oh, look, something right there. So, more variety of places to go. Still have loop arounds. So there's the incomplete areas. Wait, which map is this? Oh, that's right, I've worked more on the map. But, yeah, this would be splitting off into different areas. Well, this whole cave area would probably have some areas reconnecting, but then also shortcuts to different zones. Like going down this way, still part of the map, but going this way leads to an area that takes you to an area that is currently blocked off by a door and guards. And notice the green ones. See, they have a lot less life. But they're just as nasty as their blue friends. Now green represents the Baron boss, which this area would actually lead to his keep, but not so early in the game, just once you unlock it. So you can come back around here and then cut through to another area if need be. Probably about 3 links in this zone alone is what I'm shooting for. And then maybe make that the average, or at least the maximum, because I know if I link too much stuff together, it'll start getting complicated. Just like I realized too many zones, too many maps also becomes a problem. If I do about 5 or 6, that might be fine. Because when you save the map using the hub system, it needs all this data. Every map you visited. So it saves all that information. Another thing I need to test is the saving. Save your stats. Does it keep your gold? Does it keep your experience? I think it might, because the save system covers a ton of stuff. There's a bunch of other little things that need to be modified. I'm not sure if I'll have to actually go in and modify anything with E32 itself regarding the Duke Nukem's hard-coded stuff, or if I could work around most of it. Like some things I'd like to remove is basically this part, but that's just cosmetic. Ideally, I wouldn't mind when messing with this, because then that can break a lot of stuff. Also, when you go to those modes, you can't use flat sprites for the voxels. And the problem with that is that if I want to use voxel models as floor flats, I have to leave them as sprites, which might mess with their hitboxes. But when you make them a flat, it reacts like a floor. If it's supposed to be a voxel floor, then it needs to be a flat. But if it's not, it's a little awkward to stand on. Like in the areas where I had those chunks floating around. Let's see. I believe they are set to being flats. Yeah, these things. These are all set to be flat. I think the tapestries are also set to be wall flats. Now the problem with that is when you go into OpenGL mode and it converts things to models, it doesn't convert the flats. So you end up getting whatever stock image I threw in there, which probably looks like that, or just like the V sprite, which I just put in there to represent voxel models I didn't have a capture for. Now, that was also a problem I had with little slime guys, is that their original sprite was really small, but their actual in-game size is much bigger. So when you tried to hit them, you had to duck, which that's no fun. So yeah, these flats, there actually might be one that's not set as a flat. Let's see. And that could be one I'm bumping up a bit. Maybe not. Like I said, it's been a while since I've messed around with this engine. I'm trying to get a feel for it again. Yeah, see this little bit. Oh shoot! That hit me right in the head. Oh, there's 2 of them. Yeah, you could almost see the cannonball. This actually took a little while to figure out to get it to look like that. Just had the smoke poof out. Yeah, you can barely see the balls shoot by. They go really fast. That's one thing I also wanted to change, was the arrow speed. I feel I made too slow. I don't know if I should slow these down. No, you can see them go. Look at them go. Oh, the cannons I always thought was fun. Even in the side view version I had going, I had the cannons. Had you go up a tower, avoiding these little bastards shooting at you. Well, I think that'll be it for this little run. Like, I don't really care about how the interior of this, the keep kind of turned out. Some parts of it I like this little hallway, some little segments. I like the aspects that I had done in the town. Like, this is kind of interesting, how it looks. But then, you know, it's mostly aesthetic right now. It's not so much in the level. And that would be something I would rather integrate. It's more of a explorable, viewable level, as opposed to just a viewable parts of the level. Like out here you can't see anything, there's nothing out there, it's just sky background. So what I could have done was made a environment around it. But oh well. It's not about what could be done, it's about what we could do now. And I have no idea how long I've been recording for. Yeah, this area was largely finished. You come in from the second area, instead of going right, you'd veer left, and instead of going to that canyon area, you'd find yourself here, which was going to be like a forest area. I just started working on it and never got that much farther. Those are the block sounds. So, yeah, I'll be bringing this back, and then, yeah, I think that's about it, really. I might not go with voxel overlays, just to save space and reduce complexity and chance of graphic errors and all that crap, because it's really just a cosmetic thing. Plus, we want to keep the speed good. The speed is pretty good as far as things go, even in the more complicated areas, especially with the modern PC. Although I'm a little interested to see how it would run on it could even run on an older system. And there's quite a bit of, you know, stuff going on. And this thing is shooting out dozens of specs, so I mean, this scene alone, there's probably hundreds of sprites just being shot around. I mean, these are all temporary sprites, they're going to disappear. There's not much logic behind them. Same with the little smoke effect. And then the driplets, every little rock. It is a pretty amazing engine, though. They could handle all these things. Now, the audio is all VOC, and that could be why I'm not having the greatest audio playback, because I'm noticing that all the sounds play as they should. So like that kind of cut out short. But I was trying to keep it a little too authentic, I think, because I used VOC files that were close to the original. Maybe not exactly the best idea, especially with the engine being more modern. Because I don't really need it backwards compatible with the original Duke 3D so much.